The next phase of offseason programs is here as OTAs kick off this week, and we're here to get you set. Santana Moss and Logan Paulsen ranked the team's strongest position groups before hitting the field. And linebacker Cole Holcomb shares his journey to the NFL with another legendary linebacker in Washington. And we keep the linebacker theme rolling as we take a look back at the growth of Jamin Davis over his rookie season in our film room. And we see if some of the strong showings from the 2021 season will carry over into the fall. Keep it rolling. Command Center starts now. And welcome on in. Julie Donaldson here with you at the Gentlemen OTAs this week. So excited. Who are you most, or what should I say, you most looking forward to, Santana, this week?
I'm just happy football is back. You know, it's always been a thing for me that when spring's here, it's time to get to work. It's time to get busy. So I'm ready for that.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see the rookies. I mean, I spent so much time studying them. It's just be nice to see them on the field against NFL talent.
It's the time where they are voluntary, but we know that the coaching staff really wants everybody here. Full participation is what they are hoping for. Talking about being excited to see the team out there on the field, let's take a look at some of our draft picks wearing, look at this, the new Commanders uniforms for the first time at the 2022 rookie premiere this weekend. Sharp, huh?
Yeah,
all burgundy.
That looks great, man.
I like the all burgundy. I think I will prefer black cleats with it.
So contrary, man. Like,
I mean,
new look, and here you go. I hate
I gotta point out the obvious. You know what I mean?
Everybody's looking for those all blacks, again, the all whites, but here is one of our first looks. Now, let's take a look at the calendar for the Commanders' OTA schedule. Starting Tuesday, Washington will kick off 3 weeks of practice. Now, unfortunately, they are not open to the public, but have no fear, folks. We will be sharing all the highlights and reactions on Command Center, the team website, and across all of our social platforms. Everybody's excited to see how the new ads will work in their position rooms. And so let's go over which position group we're most excited, we feel the most confident about. Logan, give me your top three, and then Santana.
All right, so my third position group is running backs, and I'm really excited about this group because I think there's going to be tremendous growth from Antonio Gibson. As the season went on last year, you saw him get more and more comfortable. He's got that 4-3 potential. Super fired up about that. But really, this ranking is predicated on Brian Robinson. I love what he does, bring a physical presence to the backfield, and I like that he complements Antonio Gibson in a nice way.
I'm with you on that one.
You like that one?
Yeah.
Defensive line is 2. I know that's probably a little bit of a surprise to a lot of people, but I think Chase coming off the ACL, they're going to be starting Fedarian, a rookie, kind of in that rotation. How do those guys respond to last year? I think they're a great group. Not number one. Number one's a little bit of a surprise, Tana. I mean, we talked about this offset.
Yeah.
I think wide receivers. I think you bring in a guy with the first-round pick of Jahan Dotson, tremendous athlete, awesome hands. Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuels will be healthy. I think De'Ami Brown's going to make a kickback, bounce back. I know they got to prove it, but I like the talent in the room.
I like those, and we're not here to pick the same, things. So I would start off saying that I believe that my running back room will be number 3 at least. I think
great minds think alike, man.
I think these guys was like one of the forces that kind of allowed the team to kind of progress where they did last year, late in the season. You lost McKissick late, and then you saw a decline. So that's why they stand out to be number 3. And with number 2, the offensive line. Without the big uglies up front, those guys in the back can't get the job done. I know we're missing a couple of guys. Sheriff's gone, but I think the replacements you bring in, one of the guys who's a veteran, Andrew Norwell, something like that. He can be a big help. I know he's up there in years, so a little dinosaur a little bit, but still.
Your alchemy here, man. I don't like this as much. But
that's what we're not here for. I can't go with what you go with. And number 1, these guys are too good up front. I care less about Chase being injured last year. I'm pretty sure he's going to come back and be determined to go out there and be the guy he was his rookie season. But I just think as a whole, this core is too talented to not be the starting force or the leading force of this Washington Commander team.
Yeah, you don't have to agree on everything, guys. It's okay. But I like that the running back room is getting a good vote of confidence. Of course, we'll see. When everybody finally gets out on the field, the pads are on, and it's going to be a ways before we get to that point. One player hoping to lead his position group to big things in 2022 is linebacker Cole Holcomb. In just 3 seasons, the former Tar Heel has already recorded over 300 combined tackles, 4.5 sacks, and 3 interceptions. He recently sat down with another Washington linebacker legend, London Fletcher, to share his journey to the NFL.
The next year, Coach Rivera is hired. They're going to switch defense. They come in now. Your rookie year playing in a 3-4. Next year, it's going to be a 4-3 defense.
Yep.
Jack Del Rio's the head coach, and You guys play lights out. You end up number 2 in the National Football League in yards, 4th in points. How are you guys able to play so well so quickly in Coach Rivera's first year, and also won the division, Coach Rivera's first year and Jack Del Rio's first year as a defensive coordinator here in Washington?
I mean, for me personally, I mean, my rookie year, it's like I've never played in a 3-4 ever. So when we went back to a 4-3, I was like, this is what I've been doing my whole life. I could run it no problem. And you know, I think the guys were, you know, Del Rio and the D staff, they did a good job at like keeping it very simple and just letting us play fast. We got monsters on the D line. We had good corners. We had a handful of linebackers that year. Like I think they just went out and let us play fast. You know, it allowed us to play fast. I was definitely, like I said, it was. They kept it simple, so we weren't. There was no gray. It was like, hey, go out there. You guys have your rules. Key your keys, and let's just roll.
Right.
And I think they were very aggressive that first year. You know, we blitzed a lot. We did a lot of, ran a lot of cover 3, ran a lot of trap. But I think they just let us play fast and let us go.
So the next year, well, that year, you know, the defense, when we had 4 defensive linemen that were drafted in the first round. So they were garnering a lot of the attention. And the linebackers, I was doing the post-game show, so early in the season there was some criticism about the linebackers. And I used to always say, Cole Holcomb is playing well. Like, I'm watching, you know, I watch linebackers. I'm like, Cole is playing well, and nobody was really talking about you. I thought you were just playing downhill. Saw a few times you just really taking on some guards, like textbook teaching tape stuff. Everybody remembers how you did Ezekiel Elliott
When you
blitzed and blew him up. I thought you played outstanding. Fast forward to last season, the defense didn't play up to that level that it had played to the year before. How do you guys get back to playing either at that level or better this coming season?
I think last season it was very, you know, we learned some humility. We learned, you know, you got to put the work in. I think that first year everybody was just so, okay, we got a new staff, we got this, and like I said, like that rookie year, like we were just in the present, like focused on trying to learn the defense, trying to get better every day. And then I think after that we kind of got we had a little, you know, our thing kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
I think we got humbled last year, and I think, you know, it made a lot of the guys hungry. Like, you know, that's that hunger of like, oh, man, I want that feeling again, being that number 2 defense. And, you know, I think the guys are hungry this year, and I think
We are not done with Cole in London. Later in the show, we asked Holcomb to react to some of the best linebackers in NFL history. And in case you missed it over the weekend, the Commanders have announced the time for their preseason opener. Washington will host the Carolina Panthers on Saturday, August 13th at 1 p.m. You can get your tickets now by visiting commanders.com/tickets. Time now for On the Money. And I'm going to drop some facts, and the gentlemen here are going to tell me whether or not, that's on the money. Share what you think should be the appropriate answer. So let's get the cash rolling. Have a little fun with this. Cole Holcomb, since we were chatting about him, he will lead the team in tackles this year. He led them with 142 last season. Logan, on the money?
I think that's on the money. I think he's going to be playing middle linebacker. Jack Del Rio's given him the endorsement. I think there's a really good chance that he's going to be in the thick of that defense and making a ton of tackles.
Yeah, just to say less on the money.
Okay. But I'll start with you for this one then, Santana. Carson Wentz will throw at least 25 touchdowns this year. He had 27 last season. On the money?
On the money. I think, Carson Wentz is one of those guys that I'm looking forward to him to have a healthy season. I think he's going to make this offense what it is. And most of the time when he's out there for the full season, he's been 20 plus, so he's on the money.
Yeah, I feel like that's on the money also, but I'm not going to say less. I think that Santana had some nice points there. I think the vertical passing attack is going to be huge for him. I think there's going to be a lot of points to be scored. I'm really excited to see what he does.
He's had 3 seasons so far in 6 where he's had 25 at least, and we know that this offense is ready to be kind of like a high-flying offense. Yeah. A lot of extra there's a lot of focus this offseason to make sure that he does have that, so I would say on the money as well. So let's go to one of the gentlemen that hopes to be a recipient of that. Terry McLaurin will record his 3rd straight 1,000-yard yard season. Logan, on the money?
Yeah, I think this is like the easiest on the money of the group. They add the game, right? Big offense, less coverage dictated towards him. I think 100%.
Yeah, added weapons. He's still the guy. He's been the guy that had to fight for a lot of balls. Now you bring in a Carson Wentz who's going to find a way to get the ball downfield easier to him. Big on the money.
We always keep asking for help for Terry McLaurin. Supposedly we have it with Jahan Dotson also coming, a healthy Curtis Samuel, but you're still saying he's going to be able to get all those yards with everybody else fighting for the ball.
Indeed.
Okay.
I mean, there's an extra game,
Why would we
Julie.
argue
There's an
against
extra
it?
game.
That is
Got
true,
it.
17.
Easy.
How about let's go defense? Jonathan Allen will lead the Commanders in sacks this season. He had a career high 9 last year.
I'll start that one off. I don't see him leading the team in sacks. I do believe that he's still going to be a force to reckon with. You just got to believe that Sweat and Young come back and be the guys who we believe they can be. So I would say no.
I'm 100% in agreement with that. It'd be bad for the team if you lead the team in sacks. You want those other young guys to grow up, get some production, become that dominant duo that we thought they'd be. So I want him to be dominant. He's going to be dominant, but I hope he doesn't lead the team in sacks.
How about we go back to offense? Antonio Gibson rushed for over 1,000 yards, had that last season. Logan?
I think it's going to be pretty tough, actually, for him. I think with the addition of Robinson, it's not going to be quite as easy for him. I think he's going to be more effective per carry, per touch. And I think that's important for him, just for his growth, but I don't think he's going to get 1,000.
Yeah, I say total yards, 1,000 easily.
Yeah.
But, just rushing alone, no. I think, McKissick and the young guy Robinson will be a great addition to kind of spill him a little bit.
And one more real quick here. Jahan Dotson will break or tie the franchise record for rookie touchdowns of 8 in a season, set back in 1982 by Charlie Brown.
I'd love to see it. I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah. I mean, that's a big mark.
I follow that. I love to see him have that kind of production. If we're kicking behind like I hope we are, then, hey, go get it. But if not, I think he'd be very productive to our core, but not 8 touchdowns.
Terry McLaurin was close. He had 7 his rookie season, but it was, Terry.
Yeah,
that was
Terry.
it. It was just the Terry show. Still to come here on the show, we're going to be based on predictions. We're going to be having a fun season based on that. So, hey, for the latest Washington Commanders news and analysis, tune into Command Center Podcast. New episodes streaming weekly on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. And tune in this week to exclusive interviews with notable Washington alumni and members of the Commanders 2022 draft class. Still to come, Logan and Santana back in the film room. This time they are showing us growth at linebacker with Jamin Davis, what he made during his rookie season.
Man, the Falcons here. I forgot the down and distance, but I think we're in a nickel package. Little play action draw here, get deep. Bang, got lucky right there. I actually dropped the ball and picked it back up maybe, but they didn't catch it. As I'm running here, the DBs are all yelling, pitch it back, which we weren't going to do, and I had the ball, so go and block somebody. But that's just how we were, man. Guys are really being hungry, really getting after it. You see after a while, Carlos gives up and then finally tries to get a block, but Matt Ryan gave him a little bit. Is that Matt? I believe. The offense always dictates some things, and it always tells a story once they break the huddle. So once you get those pre-snap reads, you're able to make some of these plays and adjustments. Plus, I was playing with London too, so he got some good experience to help me out too. He's like, Rocky, you too short. Get deep. He'd be yelling at me every now and then. So definitely it was a team effort. Couldn't do without the D-line getting pressure and creating those bad throws for the quarterback.
Rocky McIntosh spent 6 seasons playing linebacker for the Burgundy and Gold, and his number 52 jersey is now worn by Jamin Davis. Now, Jamin Davis's rookie season did not go exactly as planned. He had 76 combined tackles, but he did progress as the season went along. And we are breaking down his play in the film room with Logan Paulsen and Santana Moss.
All right, Tana, so we're here to talk today about Jamin Davis, number 52, last year's first-round draft pick, and a kid who had some struggles early on this year, had a hard time reading defenses, tackling, getting off blocks, but I think there's a lot of reason to be optimistic. We watched some of these plays, obviously a tremendous athlete.
Well, show me what you got.
Yeah, let's check it out. Okay, so here we go. This is the first thing. Let's check it out. So here we go. We got this play, and I think this is really interesting because of everybody on the defense, Cole, Landon, nobody moves with this motion except for
Jamin.
And I think that shows that he's not quite on the same page with everybody. And that's a young player thing, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and how important is film study and preparation in getting ready for these games.
It's very important, but you also got to understand that this was his first game out the gate. So, there's no telling what he had going through his mind, all the jitters and everything. But I'm pretty sure after he saw the mistake, or if there was a mistake, these guys coached him up well, and he was able to correct that.
Yeah, the other thing I think is important to note is that this Jack Del Rio defense is an 8-man front defense. Or everyone's got one gap, gap, across the board. And this is Jamin's gap right here. So even though on this play, he goes the wrong way, it takes him in to get there, he's in his gap technically, right? And I think fans see this play and said, man, Jamin really, really messes up. Now, could Jamin be better here?
No
absolutely,
question,
absolutely. But in reality, this isn't his fault necessarily. Matt Ioannidis here is out of his gap, and it looks bad for Jamin because he's kind of getting pushed by, whatever. But I think there's like 10% of his plays that look like that. And so if you can improve that, that's just going to make him such a better football. That's why, in addition, like Fedarian Mathis is so important. And then the other thing, he struggled taking on blocks, right? And so this is like his, I want to say like one of the last games of the season, obviously, in the home stretch. This is him right here, taking on a Pro Bowl center in Kelsey. And I think just watch how he uses his arm length. He's got tremendously long arms now.
Kind of high on his toes.
Little high, no doubt, but much better than early on in the year because watch how he plays with vision, creates space, is able to get on the tackle. Like that's what you want to see from a guy kind of as a progression because he had a really challenging time with that. And I love this play, right? We talked about how everyone's got a gap in the defense, right? This is his gap over here, and watch how he tears over to his gap. Kelsey's running to get him. Look at this, he's in his gap, but watch, he's got vision to the backfield. This shows an understanding level of comfort, right? You know what I mean? That he sees what's going on here, gets good length, and is able to play back on the running back, and he's making plays as opposed to just kind of fitting in where he gets in. How is it important for a young guy to be making plays?
Definitely important, but it shows his maturity. It shows that he saw what he did earlier in the year, and he kind of, because this is later in the season, he saw that I had to correct some of those things, and that's why you were able to make an outstanding play. Yeah,
I love that. And I think the other thing about him that fans go, oh man, do we give him another shot? And I say, absolutely, you give him another shot.
No question.
Because he's got something that you can't teach. Shannon, what was your 40 time at the combine?
4.26.
4.26. You can't coach that. You can't train that. That just comes with it. He runs a 4.4 and he's 240 pounds. Watch him tear after this football here, and this is something you just can't coach, right? So I see this. This is a tackle for loss against a very fast running back, and I say, I'm going to give him a shot because only about 5 linebackers in the NFL are capable of running the way this man does.
And then one of the things you had to also understand, it was a guy that wore that same number that played for the Ravens. When he lost his front guys, he lost those beefy guys, he caught hell that year. And so he made sure that he got those guys up front again so he don't have to worry about taking on them blocks.
Those guys at home.
Ray Lewis,
right? He's talking about guys up front, right?
So you have to protect those guys, too, that play linebacker with the guys up front.
And that's another reason why a guy like Fedarian Mathis is such an important addition. Because I think Payne and Allen did a great job, but having a third guy who knows where to fit in, where to get in, again, watch him close the football here, man. Like, this is stuff that gets you fired up as a coach, as a talent evaluator. Like, he's teleporting to the football.
Speed kills.
And that's exactly right, speed kills. So for a guy who's getting better, improving on the techniques, we talked about using his hands on those blocks, tackling needs to improve still, but man, there is tremendous upside with this guy, and that gets me super excited.
We are not done with the linebackers just yet. London Fletcher sits down with Cole Holcomb to get his thoughts on some of the greatest linebackers in NFL history.
I'm going to mention some linebackers, and I want to hear what you think of when I mention these linebackers. Ray Lewis.
I mean, in my opinion, he's the greatest. Okay. I think he's the best linebacker to do it, and how long he did it at that high of a level.
Luke Kuechly.
It's funny. I talked to Luke, and I was telling my dad about this, and I was like, man, I feel like when I talk to Luke, I'm like, I feel like if we're talking about it and we're in college, I'm at like a 200, 300 level class, and Luke's teaching the 500, 600 level classes. Like he was like, I remember I called him, we talked for like 2 hours, and this dude was recalling, like we were talking about, Tampa game was coming up, and he was talking about the concepts that Tom Brady likes, and he could recall them, every single concept, and how Tom likes stuff, and how he's going to play this versus coverage. And we weren't even watching film. It was just on the phone, and he was walking through it. And I was like, his recall and his knowledge of the game, I've never met a person that is that, like, just, he's got like, I call him like a Jedi. Like, he just has this feeling, like he knows exactly what's about to happen.
Right. London Fletcher.
A dog. He's a dog.
You ain't just saying this because I'm here.
He's a dog. He was a dog. You just said it. Undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
Came in. How long did you play? How long was
16 years.
16 years. That's a long time.
Right.
That's a long time. And you were a bad man doing it.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. Finally, Cole Holcomb.
He's gonna be something special. He's just a dude that just keeps taking steps. We're gonna keep taking steps. We're gonna get there. I think I've yet to play my best ball, so I think the best is yet to come.
That is probably the best answer we could have heard from him. Excited for good things to come from Cole. And also kind of cool to see he has that relationship with Luke Kuechly and guys kind of really helping mentor each other out despite being teammates. Santana, did you have somebody who kind of really helped you?
I was one of those sponges that kind of took from everybody. Everybody who was doing something positive, who was doing something right, I just wanted in on it. So, but one of the guys that stood out to me was Curtis Martin. I remember one of my trying years, sitting in that training room with him, next to him. He rushed for 2,000 yards with 2 ankle sprains. Didn't practice at all. And one thing he harped on me with is finding someone that can take care of my body. That's what he had. He had somebody that was on call that he can always reach out to. And so when I got older, that's what I did.
Interesting, yeah. And for me, it was Chris Cooley. I mean, he was a guy that was such a great mentor in the beginning, just the way he took notes and the way he studied the game. It was such a high level, and I thought, if I'm going to be in the league at all, I got to kind of adopt some of these processes, and it was really helpful for me.
Did you pick up some of his personality traits too? Because he was a fan favorite, a lot of fun.
No, he's not.
A lot of fun.
Logan would never beat Chris Cooley. He can try real hard.
There is one and only Chris Cooley, and we
special.
love him. All right, there you go. Thanks so much for joining us on this show, folks. OTAs are here, football is back, and we have you covered. That's going to do it for this episode of Command Center.